Andre and Wallaby was the first short film we made as a group. It was made when we were part of Lucasfilm. We were the Lucasfilm Computer Division. It was made in 1984 for SIGGRAPH that year. Originally had an idea of this android named Andre that would wake up in the forest in the morning and go out to the edge of this beautiful canyon. And so my limitation in designing the characters was it had to be all with 3D perfectly geometric shapes. I was basing the design on early Mickey Mouse drawings. And the body needed to have a lot more flexibility to get the kind of pantomime acting that I wanted. And so Ed Catmull came up with the what do you call it?
A teardrop shape. And we took his new idea and implemented it in the computer so that you could bend it in a bunch of different ways.
That's right. And I remember playing with it, and it was like animated it like it was a water balloon. And it was real exciting because nothing had been that gushy in computer animation before. The motion blur was kind of breaking the computer at times because they never expected me to animate a character going from one side of the screen to the other in a matter of 2 frames.
In retrospect, it's amazing that John didn't do a robot. Where would we be today if he had? Who knows? But I'm so glad he didn't.
Do you remember what the hardest part to animate in that
Yes.
case was?
Trust me, I will never forget. It was the cord. The cord was so hard. And remember, actually, you know what it was? It was the rolling of the ball, too.
Yeah, that's true.
The rolling of the ball was such a pain. And I went to Eben, and I have to understand, I'm sitting there in front of these very expensive computers with a hand calculator trying to figure out, using my simple, art school math, trying to figure out how, if a ball is this size and is moving this fast, how far would it move? And I thought, what's wrong with this picture? And so I went to Eben. I said, Eben, please, can you do something with a computer to help me with this? And that was the beginning of one of our procedural animations.
I was working on QP at the time, and I was able to use that as a way of giving you something that would read what animation you had done and drive the ball the way it should have been driven.
Right, so I just animated the path of the ball, and then this amazing program Eben developed made it so the ball rotated accurately. But there was no such help for the cord.
No,
the ripples in the cord were done by hand, and it was painful. And so, and his name is Lumpy the Clown. Mm-hmm. Aptly named, I think. He's very lumpy.
Lots of QP going on here. Eben continued working on that in terms of the juggling.
That's right. We'd come up with you figured out how juggling works, and we implemented that basically.
Right. And so all I needed to do was to do the path in which the unicycle went on, and the wheel turned and the pedals stay flat and everything like that. And then I would then just indicate sort of for the juggling where the ball landed in 3 space and which frame, and then go ahead a few frames and put in the next place it landed, and then the QP did the arc and actually did the squash and stretch and everything on it.
I remember you animating that 50% off sign. Remember
By
that?
hand.
By hand again.
Yeah.
Here we go again.
Yeah, I'm still proud
Poor
of that.
John.
But honestly,
It
of
looks
all
really
the
good.
things we've made, the end of Red's Dream is one of the things I'm most proud of because we wanted to try to do something that had a little more emotion, and a little heart. And as Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnson, 2 of my mentors at Disney, always talked about was pathos, as an emotion to try to get into animation. And so we were quite proud of it. But I remember everybody said, please don't let it have a sad ending. Have it a happy ending. Come on, have the clown come back and buy him. Oh, this is too sad. And But this film was very big in Europe. They love that setting. I say it's Pixar's blue period. I was watching home video that my sister Joanna had taken of my nephew Timmy. And he was an incredibly cute little baby. And she sat him on a blanket and surrounded him by his favorite toys and just shot like a half an hour of him playing with his toys. And he would take toys and then drool on them and smash them on the ground and drool on them and throw it. And I thought, oh, he's so cute. But imagine being a toy, this cute baby would actually be like a monster. And I just thought, oh, there's a story idea. Through all these short films, the sound has been done by Gary Rydstrom out at Skywalker Sound. And this was kind of a gift to him. Originally, we were coming up with ideas for what the tin toy would be like. I had a big toy collection, and I had just been over to Japan and visited the Yokohama Tin Toy Museum. And I was really inspired by doing a kind of old-style tin toy. But you could do almost anything you wanted. And so we came up with the idea to do a one-man band, kind of as a gift for Gary, so that and he, I think, spent more time on the sound of Tin Toy than he did on all of Cocoon 2, which was he doing the sound design at the end. It also has one of the biggest laughs of any movie we've ever made, is when Tinny, the little tin toy, goes under the couch. And then he looks up and you see all of the toys that are gathered around.
Didn't we get everybody in the company to build a toy? And so everybody contributed their own toy.
Yeah, everybody who wanted had a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Off hours, they build a character,
It was very satisfying from a storytelling standpoint because it was a big laugh at that point because it all of a sudden explained to everybody in the audience, all the adults, as to why toys end up under couches and under beds and under, away from the toys, and you lose them for months at a time. Well, it's because they want to go there, because kids tend to, drool on toys and stuff. And I think the audience really understood that for the first time.
Remember how the baby looked on the first couple times coming out of my software?
Yeah, it was pretty scary.
John was about ready to pitch a new idea for a film. The first couple times that I started showing him pictures, that was pretty scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, one of the challenges was really trying to find a caricatured human, and making it more cartoony than realistic, and finding that balance, But, it worked well for the story because it was supposed to be a baby monster,
Mm-hmm.
Now, Knick Knack was special because we were so exhausted after Tin Toy, we decided that we wanted to do a cartoon. Something that's made of geometric shapes, no human characters, just, something the computer could do really well.
Plastic, a lot of plastic.
A lot of plastic, yeah. But also, Knick Knack was made in 3D, stereo 3D. We got really quite interested in 3D photography, and so we did actually two eye views, a left and a right eye view of Knick Knack. And so Knick Knack was actually a 3D movie, and it worked out really well.
This was a really collaborative show. Of the half dozen or so people who were working on it, everybody was able to design and build their own character, and they also animated it. If you notice, all the other Knick Knacks were from sunny locations, like sunny Florida, sunny Jamaica, sunny Israel, sunny Palm Springs, that's a palm tree on a spring. Each of the scenes in this film was named after a little gag that was in it.
That's right.
And so it's really made up of a whole bunch of gags that sort of stitched together.
Boy, a long time ago, we had so few shots that we can actually name them instead of number them, and the computer could keep track of them. And I'll never forget the one sound effect that just made me laugh the first time I heard it is Nick, as we called him, the little snowman, does the welding thing and then flies off stage. There's this long pause, and then there's this huge crash that goes, and it's like much later than you would expect. And it just caught me off guard and was so funny. And then the incredible sound is when he finally does explode, expecting that the whole snow dome is going to come apart, but instead it just makes it this violent swirl, and you cut inside, and it's going all around you.
I went to Eben and Bill and I said, okay, tell me now whether we could do the snowflakes floating around, because if we can't, let's come up with a different idea, because it is so fundamental to those snowballs to do, to make them float around. And that's when I always love giving these guys challenges because they always figure out a way to do it. It was pretty difficult to work with, but I think in the end, every single shot had to be tweaked numerous times, but it actually worked out pretty well. It was really funny when it broke. Remember that?
It broke in terrible ways.
and the snowflakes went everywhere like at lightning speed and stuff. It was pretty funny.
I think it's more common that they broke than that they didn't, right?
Deirdre Warren came up with the ending with the mermaid in it. I remember sitting in her office in a little story meeting. She came up with that idea, and it was like,
That's
great.
it. Yeah.
It was perfect. And so we went with it. I think that story was created in about 2 days.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
As we were making Knick Knack, Bobby McFerrin had the big hit, Don't Worry, Be Happy. So one of the funny things is at the very end, we did not have placeholders for the end credits. And so we had just typed out blah, blah, blah. So when the blahs came up, he started singing blah. And it was so funny to us. That's what we left it in there. And a lot of people don't realize that is Bobby McFerrin saying the blahs.
Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah.
After 14 years, it's still a fun film.
Blah, blah, blah.